yes, what would I do without your support? Your undying support and your actual doing of nothing. But I made her look real good in front of everyone, and she was thrilled about that, and made some inroads on Sonara nonsense. She moves on. What's his face? I'm so bad with names today.
What's his face?
The old guy with the rotten teeth.
Sethic. Thalgano Sethic.
Seth. Thank you. Thalgano Sethic. Comes in, sees Vors, gives Vors the eyeball like, not yet, dog. Wait a minute. And he schmoozes a bit, and then gives Vors the like, all right, now come over, eyeballs. And Vors comes over, and he chats with Vors, and he sort of rubs Lavasvia's face in it about how she's in a bad way, and Vors sort of insinuates like, yeah, she kind of knows what went on, but not fully, because she's not mad at everybody. She's just mostly mad at me. And then we schmooze a bit more. I don't think anyone else important came in. Oh, we talked to the Baron after that. Right?
Was that before? I don't remember. I think it was before, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, you talked to the Baron at some point.
Okay. And he was, very vapid, and Nero's making vaguely threatening things, but he's not picking up on it, or he is, and he's just not acknowledging it. We then are hanging around, and just like Nero has predicted, midnight tolls, and out comes the Hell Knight, and out comes a Barb Devil, and he calls out a challenge, and comes into us, and then bangs on his shield, and all hell breaks loose. A second Barb Devil appears. We all start running except Bob, and this honorable dude wants to I'm gonna just gangbang you with two devils, and that's fair. So we all start running, and Bob just goes wild and wrecks him like Bob.
Hey, Michael, can you recount the prayer to Moloch for us?
Yeah, you did a Moloch prayer.
No, I can't.
I'm sure you can.
No, I can't actually. Does anyone remember? I think
Moloch, bro.
Probably want something like, oh, Malik, bro, God.
Bruh. Like you said, remember the last time there was a Fex guy? Remember what happened? I'm gonna do that again.
Oh, yeah.
And then you did it again.
And he got crazy big and smashed him in pieces, and then everyone sort of woke up from their fear aura thing, and wrecked the Barb Devils. One of them is summoned and just disappeared, and the other one slumps to the floor. And we ended the session with everyone sort of congratulating, and Nero walks in carrying drinks, and that was where we pretty much ended.
Yep. So a lot of the people that were on the main dance floor were also terrified because they were within range of the shout. So a lot of people have already left. Like a good number of people have run out of the front of the building in terror, but especially some stayed, and especially the people in the balconies, they were far enough away that they're all still there. And after Bob felled Fex, and after you guys came up and mopped up the devils, it kind of just exploded into uproarious applause. So all the nobles are clapping, and almost all together you see as they begin walking down the stairs to come see you. And so you guys are standing over the dead body of the Baron. I think, did you kill the Barb Devil, or did you leave it bleeding? I forget.
Michael, tell us about how you finished off the Hell Knight.
Oh yeah, that was the best part.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was definitely the thing I remember doing.
You poured when you tipped his cracked head onto a glass.
Yeah, I drank his blood. That was the thing. I drank his blood out of a wine glass.
There you go.
Did you rip out a skull?
I don't think I ripped out a skull.
I think you death knelled him. I think that's true.
No, did you say soul or skull? I was like, yeah.
Soul.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that happened. While I was drinking the blood. I'm gonna have to go get tested.
You might have had the Rona, yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said, you're doing this. You're just coming down. Nero, he was walking by like a servant on the way in the balcony area. He grabbed some drinks and came in the room. There's uproarious applause, and a bunch of the nobles come to see you. And surprisingly, Thalgano Sethic, the decrepit old man who hobbles, is out in front by a long shot. So you watch it. He's moving like oddly quickly for someone his age and in his condition.
Do I see that?
I mean, you don't see it because you're Vors.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do sense that he's moving quickly. You definitely know it's him, and you can sense it. Everybody can tell that he's moving oddly quickly. So again, all these people are kind of rushing down the balconies, coming to the stairs, and he is like way out ahead of the pack. You doing
I
it?
mean, I study him and like see if I notice anything, or like
He's
try
moving
to get a
really.
beat
He's
on.
moving really quickly.
Has he been hasted?
I don't know how is Dern asking me that.
Dern is talking to himself. So, no.
All right. Well,
Dern is mumbling to himself.
if anyone's doing anything, you can let me know. But he arrives, again, a good few paces ahead of everybody else, and as he comes over, he looks at Bob, he cackles, and he kicks Vogadus in the head. The broken, bloody head.
Oh.
And he shouts to everybody who's coming, he says, "That was magnificent, my boy! To stand your ground against such an assault! To throw off 2 devils and trounce a Hell Knight so thoroughly!" And he throws his arm around you, and he gets his face in real close. And again, he's got these rotten teeth. I don't know if I have a handout in this VTT. Let me see. The worst. No, I don't think I do.
Anyway, got these rotten ass teeth.
Oh, I do. Show the players. He's got these rotten ass teeth. He throws his arm around you, and he's got this horrible, stinky breath. He gets up close to whisper, and you can feel the warmth and just like smell the stench. And he whispers to you, and he says, "There's a special place in my heart for people who disgrace the Order of the Scourge the way you did. If you ever need a favor, in business or in court, find me." And he slaps you on the back and then shouts loudly, "And in the meantime, keep swinging that hammer!" And there's again another uproarious applause as all the nobles come over and begin to just gush over everything that had happened.
Bobby!
We did it. We got favors now.
So everybody else shows up. There's a bunch of nobles. Everybody can toss me a perception check if you want. And I'm gonna
Definitely a thing I know how to do in this tool.
Yeah,
you double click
this is brought
yourself,
to you
and you can go to your skills. I have a button to make it fast, but we'll see if I need to start using
Okay,
it.
I see what's up here.
For everyone, all our viewers, our 3 fans, and Bijo, we have transitioned to Foundry VTT.
That is true. We are using a new virtual tabletop.
How do I actually roll the fucking thing?
You click on the far left side of it, like there's like a...
The dice.
Oh.
It turns into a dice when you hover over it.
Wow, Boars can actually roll in this one. No more 1s and 2s all the time. Look at this.
Oh, is that right? That's some bullshit. Mine's
What?
not.
You rolled a...
How do I,
Yeah,
how
you
do I
rolled
have
a
a plus
6.
0 on this bullshit?
It's a perception check. You've never been good at that. Am I
I'm
wrong?
gonna blame the new tool, okay?
You're gonna blame the new tool for you never having put a rank into perception?
I don't feel good
Yes.
about this. I blame this tool.
This tool's garbage. Anyway, so everybody's walking over, and Vors, you are quick to notice that Lavasvia is not there.
Do I see her up on like any of the balconies or anything?
No, you're pretty sure that you saw her up on this balcony and that she walked down like everybody else, but
Yeah.
you haven't seen her since. But you're acutely aware that everyone you saw
Is
around.
Sethik still there? Is Sethik still there?
Yes.
I guess in the roar, I would get close to him and just give him a heads up, be like, "Yo, Lavasvia is here," like quietly so no one else can hear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Lavasvia is here. Like, whatever did in Mr. Thorpe is here with her.
Okay, so yeah, he nods and he looks around. He has Mr. Thorpe and Bist is around. I don't have the tokens here, but he whispers over to them, and Mr. Thorpe stands up straighter and gets a little more serious, and they take your advice.
I just keep looking.
Okay,
Yes.
so all the nobles have now gotten onto you, and the Baroness Galinthia, the one with the clown makeup, she is absolutely gushing over all of this violence. She walks up to the Duke first and says, my good Duke, I had no idea you were such a fan of the theater of the real. To have something like this performed at the Hellfire Ball is so out of character for you, but I absolutely loved it. Toss me a sense motive check, everybody.
I study her.
Okay.
That's good.
That's a +3 to your doohickeys.
+4 because she's a Chelish noble.
Oh, that's good. You're smart. Look at this guy. You're remembering things.
Are you guys playing the game now? Yeah, we're playing the game now.
So Vors, you're certain that she is completely sincere in her excitement, and the Duke, who smiles and nods back at her, is a mix of uncomfortable and completely uninterested in this thing. Again, like the whole time he didn't really care at all about you, and even now, after this amazing thing has happened in front of him, he seems completely disinterested in what's going on. While that's happening, the Baroness asked Bob. She wants to see your hammer. She was like looking really closely at the corpse. She's like looking at the way you cracked in his skull, and she just loves all of the viscera. Do you show her your hammer?
Vorse pipes up.
Is that a euphemism?
That's up to you. She's asking to see your hammer.
Bob will unzip his pants, I guess. Why not?
She's, no, and she gestures to the big bloody hammer with chunks of skull and brain on it.
Oh, this one. Yeah, sure. You can look, just don't touch it.
Oh, but she wants to touch it. She says, "Oh, really?" And she's raising her hand as if she wants to like touch some of the guts.
I pull it back.
Okay. So she continues on. She asks, "Were you wounded?"
Is this still crab mallet size right now? Because the way that we played it was that I was beating this guy with the crab mallet.
I think it is. I don't think it changes when you attack, does it? No? Then it's a crab mallet. I forgot that. That's true. So she's astonished, and she's looking again at the corpse of the Hell Knight, and she looks over to you and she says, I saw the way you were gored by those devils. Were you cut? And she's looking at as if like she wants to see your wounds too.
What was I cut?
You were definitely stabbed by the claws.
Yeah.
You were impaled and about to die.
Yeah, you were doing good.
Yeah. No. It's not a big deal. I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay. So she is she has this gleeful curiosity about the whole thing, which is really strange, even for a Chelish noble. Like she's really, really excited to see the gore around here. Everyone is very interested in what happened, but she is exceptionally interested in the viscera and gore.
Vorse elbows Bob and says, "Offer her a drink."
Do you want to drink some of this man's skull blood?
She says, "Oh, no, I wouldn't presume to," and she shirks off the pretense, like, "No, I don't want to drink his blood."
Oh, all right. Maybe we can get a regular drink then.
Yeah, she'll get in a regular drink. She waves to a halfling servant, and you're just being basically swarmed by this gaggle of nobles. Anybody want to do anything specific with anybody?
Is the lady that Bob danced with gaggling here?
Yeah, she's around. I forgot her name because I'm an idiot. You begin with the V? Vaisha? I think her name is
Bob,
Vaisha.
you trying to do the thing, man? This is what we were about like 6 episodes ago.
She was completely
That was
uninterested
like 5
in him.
minutes of game time. So yeah.
Oh yeah, well she's completely uninterested in you still, like in that way. You are a curiosity to her, and you've definitely proven yourself to be a mighty warrior. But both you and Vors struck out in that. She has no interest in that. That's not why she's at this party.
All right, fine, whatever. I don't care. I've got this.
Dern is mumbling to himself, and you can hear, if anyone's listening, can hear him saying, "I thought you were fearless. You were supposed to be brave." And he's in the corner transforming half of his face and fighting with the thing inside of him. And he just keeps muttering, "We're going to be brave now. We're going to be fearless."
Everybody can toss me a perception check to see if you notice Dern talking to himself. We'll call it an 18. And then if you care. If you don't care, don't bother rolling. There you go. Nero notices. Iwan notices. Vors notices. Does Bob care that Dern's talking to himself?
Yeah, I guess Bob will care.
Okay, then go ahead.
You're being gaggled, though.
You are being gaggled. Yeah, Bob didn't notice. Bob's too busy being gaggled. But everybody else notices that Dern is talking to himself.
Vorse go check in on him.
And if you tap him on the shoulder, you'll see he's beating himself up pretty bad about running away like a little pansy. And he just keeps muttering, "We're brave now, Vorse." And
We are.
We are very brave now. We'll never run away. They can come and get us.
Let them. Hey. Like,
Yeah. Let us. Let we.
Live and let we.
Yeah, he'll just keep muttering, "We're brave now."
Does Boris like see like any of the monster or beneath or anything?
Like it's morphing in and out of his face, and you can see that Dern is more upset with the monster, and the monster is actually more dejected. Dern is scolding the monster, basically saying, like, "I thought this is what you're here for. We're fearless, aren't you? Aren't we?" And he keeps going in and out of we, I, you.
Boris just says like, "You doing okay?"
We're brave.
It's like he just kind of goes like, "Is everybody doing okay?"
Everybody screwed up. Did you see how we ran? Everyone
Yeah.
ran, except Bob.
That's because he's too dumb to run.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we've killed something in our psyche now. We're ready.
Excellent.
That's the voice in Dern's head. and once Boris talks to him, he'll stop muttering so obviously, but once in a while he'll still be scolding himself.
All right.
Boris kind of like puts his arm around Dern's shoulder and like brings him back over to the group.
A very touching moment for Dern. No one's ever friended him. That's a friend request accepted.
All right. So the nobles continue storming over you. Vors, specifically, you do not see Levisvia at all after that. So she disappeared from the balcony, and you haven't seen her since. She hasn't come through here.
Boris would mention to Dern, "Hey, Levasvia's not around." Is it Levisvia?
I think I've said both. I'm pretty sure it's Levisvia. Vasvian is her name. That's why I keep... Because the VA, VI. It's Levisvia Vasvian. So, yeah, sorry.
All right. Hey, Dern. Not sure where Vissy went. We should start tracking her down.
Should we hunt her?
That's probably a good idea, but we shouldn't kill her yet.
Dern looks at you confused, like, hunt her, but don't kill her.
We need to let her strike first.
What does it matter? Who is she now?
She's at least well known. It'd be better.
Dern takes the sword and starts poking the air.
It's better to kill in self-defense unless you are given an official reason to kill.
Well, we can bait her. Is this what everyone wants to do? Are we supposed to be doing other things right now? I don't remember how many days it's been.
We're still at the party, so Boris is trying to get Dern to go talk to, like, the Baron
It's the Duke,
or the Duke and like the Duke's bodyguards.
Okay. Let me ask my friend Hermos, whatever his damn name was, and let me see if he saw her slip out. I'll be back. Thank you, friend. And he gives you a high five, even if you don't try. He'll grab your hand and high five you.
All right, Boris will give Dern an emphatic high five.
All right. We thunderclap and cause 2d6 wave sonic damage.
I do not have that guy's
Boris is now deaf and can't see.
I think it was H something, right?
It definitely was an H something. Humio, I think.
Humio, yeah.
Humio sounds right. What about that?
Captain of the Guard, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't recreate the entire scene in the VTT because we're basically done with it. So Humio's not actually here, but you find Humio.
I'll say, buddy, what happened?
Is Dern Canadian?
Bro, dude, what happened, dude?
I don't know. It was the Duke's orders. We weren't supposed to guard under the stage. That's where he came out. There was like a trap door under the stage.
You think he set it up?
He shakes his head. I don't know. I thought maybe the queen was coming through there and had her own guards or something. We weren't sure.
Okay. What about the lady in blue? Did you find her? Did you see her escape?
The lady in blue, and he thinks for a moment, and Levisvia was the only person wearing blue. Again, everybody else is wearing red and black. So she was in the balcony, and she came down with the others, right?
Yeah, we were talking to her, and then that guy came. Bob killed her. Bob killed him, sorry. And then where'd she go? Did she run?
Shakes his head. I don't know. I thought she came down with all the other nobles, and he looks out over the crowd looking for the lady in the blue dress, but she's not there. I'm just no. I don't know.
She's a person of interest, Humio.
For what?
Humio, you're employed by this guy, Duke Baron. What's his name? Whatever.
It's not a baron. He's just a duke.
And
Duke Rava Malesia.
But I'm sure you want a bigger job, right?
He shrugs. He says, What are you saying?"
You got to keep your eyes open for bigger things that are happening. I want you to be promoted. I want you to be where we are.
Who is this lady in blue? What does she matter? What did she do? Why are you looking for her?
She may have orchestrated everything bad that's ever happened in this town. The very worst things are because of her. Anyone wearing blue is bad. Red is good. Blue is bad.
You're going to have to roll a bluff check, because you know that's not true.
Oh, god damn it. I'm not good at this.
This is some Crips and Bloods shit.
I'm trying to go for the politics thing. Can I intimidate him with that?
No, you're trying to convince him that she's... Yeah, this is just not going to work. Let's go ahead, make a bluff check. Let's see how badly you fail at first.
We out here. Yeah, eat that, buddy.
But again, like, he doesn't believe that she's responsible for all the bad things that have ever happened, and he says, "What things? Like, you mean the Mara Lictor?"
Dern Shirag barely knows what that is.
That's the guy that Vodka's Fex, the guy that came out and attacked you guys.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be the Bellflowers. It could be everything.
You think she's involved with the Bellflowers?
Listen, Humio, I'm gonna come back to you in a day. We need some intel. More than what's in this house, Humio. He
seems confused. He's like, "I'm not a detective, sir. What are you looking for? I don't know where that lady went."
Dern shakes his head and says, "Okay, guess you did a good job being a house guard."
He shrugs and says, "I can tell I can tell everybody to look for her, but I have no idea where she is."
Okay, if anyone hears, please put the word out. Ask your friends, but don't say I'm looking. Just say you're wondering.
Okay. He nods.
No, I'll go back to Voris and say I don't know, dude. She escaped in the fray.
All right.
But I will tell you that, as we suspected, the Duke, yeah, he purposely didn't guard that door. He ordered them not to. So, whatever that's worth.
So Vors, thanks, Stern, and it says does like the up high, down low, too slow thing. And yeah, and it tells him you get the low one when you find out where she is. Yeah,
okay, we'll find her. We'll find her. I really should have taken scent.
That's a good bloodhound skill.
I took burrow instead.
All right. So again, the nobles are all asking you, like, Durin, when you briefly took out your sword, everybody wants to see it. And some people ask you, like, we heard you were a servant of the queen. Now that you're not, like, actively patrolling and things like that, they feel a little more comfortable to ask you questions. They heard, we heard you're a servant of the queen. Is that true? Was she supposed to come tonight?
Yeah. I am the servant. I am a servant.
Was she supposed to come tonight? Are you here because she might have come?
And Dern's looking around for Nero or Iwin. What? Who's closest?
I don't know. Let's say Nero. He's closest on the map, but you guys have moved a lot. But let's just say Nero.
You know what? He answers the questions, and I'll move him in front of me.
They seem a little dejected because they wanted to talk to the servant of the queen, and they're happy to talk to Nero. But you can definitely tell that they're a little sad that you aren't talking to them. But maybe that's just how servants of the queen are.
I'm uninterested in talking to people at this party. Dern will he'll look around for any clues about her.
Okay, you can toss me a perception check. And does anybody else want to do anything with all the nobles around?
I suppose Nero will prod about like the Sonara stuff and like swap war stories and whatever to drum up business if possible, but yeah, nothing specific. And Nero's popped out his necklace so that he's casting light because he wants to keep an eye out for shadow shenanigans.
Okay. Toss me a diplomacy check to see how well you work the room. How well you Nero in the moment. Dern doesn't find anything, so you go looking down the hallways and up on the balcony, and you find absolutely nothing. Yeah. So you schmooze really well, and you play up what happened, and they keep asking about Bob and Dern. And how much do you want to reveal about Dern? Are you just kind of playing it off and not telling a whole lot, or are you divulging a little bit of what you know about Dern? Because they seem really curious about him.
I mean, it would depend what they're asking. I suppose he'd be fairly honest about it. Maybe somewhat cryptic on stuff he doesn't understand. If they're asking about whether the queen is coming, I would say he'd probably say something like, I mean, do you think the queen tells her servants what her plans are, or do you think she tells them to go and be prepared in case she comes?
Yeah, that seems everybody seems to agree. That makes a whole lot of sense. They were just curious because they'd never seen such a high-ranking servant of the queen with one of those special runes on them. They thought maybe that was a signal that she would be coming, but now it's like 12:30, almost 1 in the morning. It's pretty obvious that she probably won't be coming now.
Yeah, if she wasn't coming at midnight, I doubt that she's coming.
Yeah, everybody seems to agree to that, and some of the other nobles begin leaving now that the party's kind of died down. But you still have a small gaggle around you if you want to do anything else. No?
Nothing especially.
All right. Bob, want to do anything? Bobbert? No? Okay. All right. Well, the party lets out. The Duke is eager to see people out. Again, he appears almost completely disinterested with the ball. Like, he throws this thing every year, but for whatever reason, he seems, like, eager to get everybody out at this point. And people begin to leave. So it's now, like I said, 1 in the morning. What are you guys going to do? Going to go back to the Newt Inn and sleep, or you got something else planned?
Bob, the body of Vacadus? Bob, you want to grab him?
Yeah, for sure. The blood's gonna be spilling out of him that way.
That's fine.
Okay.
Just drag him out.
All right. I'm gonna drag him out so that the blood's like leaving the most trail that I
The
can.
biggest trail you can. Hold him upside down and tilted.
Yeah.
Going in
there.
circles.
Fair enough. Yeah, so you drag out the corpse. That's fine. And are you taking it to your inn, or are you going somewhere else, or what?
I mean, I think the plan is, are we headed home?
Nero, are we looking for her?
Why?
She seems like it's time to kill her, no?
Oh.
No.
Oh,
Does anyone...
I forgot that you're not into that. Whoops. Didn't she broke some law, I'm sure.
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, come on, everyone breaks a law.
I was a little worried about whatever she had with her, but we'll deal with that when we deal with that, I suppose.
You know she's going to be a problem for us someday.
Possibly.
She knows I ate her husband.
Hey, can you maybe not say that shit out loud?
Technically,
I mean,
also fiance, but yes.
She knows I dated her husband. Yes.
Let's get back to the end. You shut your mouth.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So you get back to your new inn, the new sleeping arrangements you have. Do you all have separate rooms there? Are you sleeping in? Are you sharing, or what's the deal?
Should we go stay with Sethic?
You want to change again?
It might be prudent.
Sure, fine.
Also, at this point, I think it would flatter him if we went and stayed with him after this spectacle. He'd be able to brag that he had us over.
Fine.
Yeah. So Sethic is one of the last people to leave. So if you wanted to make that request, you could ask him on the way out, basically. So you don't have to go find him.
Yeah.
He's more than willing to have. He's extremely happy to have all of you stay with him.
Yeah, Boris will do that.
Okay. All right. So Sethic leads you back to wherever he sleeps. Yeah, he probably has. Good.
I was just gonna ask, like, do you perchance have a meat locker where we can string this one up?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. And
I'm just going to write a letter, and we're going to give him to the church. They'll send him back to his order.
And he seems dejected with that. He says, "Well, can we put him on the hook for at least one night?"
I mean, I suppose with all the damage done to him, it's not even going to be noticeable.
He cackles and seems very happy to be hanging a Knight of the Order of the Scourge in a meat locker. And in case you forget, they tortured him for years.
Yeah.
They're the reason he fell from his former heights, and they tortured him for years and took away all his holdings, and he was eventually released with no actual charges against him.
Maggie, the demon camera, was with us, right?
Oh yeah, she's around.
Right.
Speaking of which, I do not have a token for her, but I'll work on that.
That's good. She saw all that, which is good.
Yes,
Depends on who
observed
you
all
are
that.
in that, but yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I was super happy about what Maggie saw, but
That's true. We all ran.
True.
Only Bob looks good.
All right. So you're all going to stay with Sethic.
What is our overlying thing now? Are we done this chapter? I don't get it. What's left?
What's a chapter? Why do you keep talking about chapters?
I feel like the main objective is completed. No.
What is the main? What do you think the main objective is?
We've been summoned to court. I'm sure that we're doing a lot of things to get noticed.
Mm.
Yes, you're all anybody's talking about. You are certainly the most notable agents in town. So again, at the beginning of this chapter, lots of Thrune agents, hundreds, maybe even thousands of them, were summoned to the capital, and everybody was just a Thrune agent. And now you guys have made yourself very notable. You've done a bunch of important things, including breaking up the Bellflower Network. You slayed a Hell Knight in front of almost all of the Chelish nobility. Anybody who was anybody was at this ball. This was a hot ticket affair. It was very hard to get in. So you've impressed.
This is
Yeah.
this is all within the last 24 hours too.
Yes,
It's been
correct.
great.
Again,
It's
you
been a
said you're not
rage
sure what day it
over-
was. This is still the same day you broke up the Bellflower Network and you spied on the barrister and convinced Corey. This is all the same day, even though it's been
Is it the same day we branded Corey? Or
No, that was I
Yeah.
think yesterday. I think it's been at
Okay.
least a night since then, but it's within the last 24 hours. Yes, it's pretty close. So yeah, so that's all over, and you guys are heading back to Sethic's to sleep, and you're hanging a Hell Knight in a meat locker. And anybody doing anything else for the night? Nope. Okay. So Sethic does have a small Vanio. It's not as impressive as some of the other ones you've been to. You can definitely tell that he fell from his grace at one point. It's still impressive to have a Vanio in the town, but it is definitely lower than everybody else in the area that you've seen. But you do have enough space that all of you can have... Oh, there are 5 of you? Yeah, all of you can have your own bedroom if you want.
All right.
I'm gonna sleep a turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Corey and Rona are still at your old inn. Are you going to grab them and bring them here, or are you going to leave your help at the other inn?
No, we should take them, dude.
Yeah, we should take them with us.
Yeah, you
You're
can't
gonna
leave
They
grab.
can have the other room. Yeah.
You're going to grab your slips.
I'll go get them. I'll
Okay.
fly.
All right. Yeah, we can just
Alright.
hand wave it. You pick them up on the way over.
I'll fly with them through those guys.
And you had a bunch of other halflings too, like I think the Nero halflings.
Oh,
Are they
yeah,
staying
where
with
are they?
you, or
That's fine. We'll bring them as well. They can stay in the stable or whatever.
okay? Make a note. A lot of halflings.
We have a lot of people with us.
You got a retinue now.
An
Okay.
entourage.
An entourage of halflings.
Yeah, here we go.
All right. Anybody else doing anything for the night, or are you guys good?
No, Nero does some document stuff for shipping out slaves, but other than that, yeah,
Document
good.
stuff. Quotes. All right. Okay. If no one's doing anything else, the night passes without incident. Sethic does not slit your throats in your sleep. He has been nothing but a gracious host. Again, it was late, and he did go to bed because he's an old man. But on his way, he basically told you that there are servants here. Anything you ask for, you can have. And whatever accoutrements or fineries you want while during the night, he can get you. Extra pillows, you
You know
get them. Yeah.
I thought of something, Joe.
Yes.
If there's time, and I don't know if Iwan still has spell slots, but if we could do ascending to Wami.
Okay. Does Iwan have spell slots?
Well, I think Iwan's gonna have to wait till she sleeps, but in the morning she could.
Okay. I think I've picked it up, so I'll probably do it tomorrow, but no big deal.
Okay. All right. The night passes without incident. And just before dawn, Vors, you are awoken.
Ooh.
Vors is awoken. Yeah.
By what?
Oh! I don't have my soundboard. I failed miserably. I upgraded my
Is it the
computer and I don't have my sound. I was going to do the teleport noise.
Oh, God.
Twing! I don't have it. So you are awoken by the sound of a teleport noise. And when you look up, you see a Zabub, one of those accuser devils, dressed in a crimson and black velvet suit. The outfit is strikingly odd-looking on the infantile upper body of this devil. Adorning his tiny chest is a platinum seal of the House of Thrune.
Ooh, that's important.
Yeah.
Even like,
And he says...
does it have, like? Is it like scarred up and like embossed, or like does it have any sort of texture to it?
Yes, it is. It's kind of like a badge, and it's a 3-dimensional badge on his chest. Yes, so you are aware that this is you believe he's representing the House of Thrune, and he says,
Master Abernus, you and your comrades have been summoned to appear before her infernal magistrix, Queen Abigail II of the thrice-damned House of Thrune. You are commanded to present yourselves at the palace 2 hours from now. Guards will escort you to the throne room.
That's the voice in Dern's head. It's like, what?
Kayla's losing her shit.
Are you playing the game now?
I don't think she's heard that yet.
That was cool.
Did you catch all those words, though? Did that actually come through audibly?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 2 hours to report to the queen, so
All of us, yeah.
yeah.
Yes, you and your comrades.
Understood. I'll rouse the rest of the group.
Yeah, he bows deeply and then vanishes.
So yeah, Vors goes and starts to rap on all the doors to rouse folks, starting with Nero.
You're muted, Nero.
You're
Nero.
muted.
How's Nero?
I suppose this is why we're here. Nero start getting himself together.
Vors
Anybody
goes
doing
out.
anything? Okay, sorry.
Vors gives Bob and Darren the most time.
Bob and Dern were staying up late telling ghost stories, so we need extra time.
You're gonna be a little tired.
Little bit.
Is anybody doing anything special in the morning before? Now that you know you have a couple hours.
I'll do ascending to Wami and send a runner to the church to get rid of this body.
Are you sending the runner with the body, or are you sending them with the knowledge there is a body?
Probably with the knowledge that there's a body, because I don't know that I can get that kind of livery service here.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
And I'll do sending to Wami if possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree to that. It's fine.
Okay. What are your words to Wamis?
What the hell is the name of the city that Vors is from?
Oh,
No,
Remisiana.
Remisiana, a feint. Army may be doubling back, making inroads at court. Should have support coming soon. We'll check in as soon as possible. Hero.
Did you count the words? Because I don't.
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's 25.
Okay.
I'm taking on my hand.
So I would read off of his note, presumably.
Okay. So you send the message, and you wait a couple moments. Turns into a couple minutes, and there is no response.
Uh-oh.
We done fucked up. So yeah, I would basically be like, well, we might have to go check in on Sonara sooner than we expected. I got nothing.
Interesting. Well, I don't suppose there's anything we can do before we see the queen. I'll do some divining and see what we can find out soon enough. Okay.
All right. Anybody do anything else? Bob, Darren? Anything you want to prepare before going to see the queen?
Whatever Dern would usually prepare when he sees her. I'm sure this isn't the first time he's seen her, right?
So you've only seen her when she bought you. Like you don't have regular meetings with the queen. She basically, you were a slave in the fight pits of Corentin. You were an animal. You were infused with whatever the hell happened to you, and you were an animal. And she just happened to be in Corentin and saw you fight, and basically plucked you out of that and made you this agent or whatever you want to call it. She basically saw that you were a exquisite sort of monster, and she wanted you in her employ. So she hasn't like given you orders or really talked to you at all. You've probably never seen her after that, but you know that she is the being that did that. She plucked you out of your slavery, gave you this leash, but your entire time working for her, in quotes, has been through handlers, and you've had several. You've had maybe 3 or 4 different handlers before this one. You are notably hard to work with.
Okay, awesome. So I do revere her and respect her for saving me, because I'm sure that place was shittier than what I got.
Certainly, yeah. You were a slave. You were and you were a champion among them, but you were still you were put back in your cage at night. You were not in living quarters.
At free reign. Yeah. Okay. So I'll dress the best I can.
Okay.
And I'll wear anything that she gave me the day she got me, like whatever she did. I'll try to look as good as I can, basically.
Okay, cool. Zubert?
I'm gonna also try to look as best I can, I suppose. Can I bring the crab mallet again? Is that possible? Are we allowed to do that?
You can. I mean, did you have a head of disguise, or how did you make it do that?
Yeah, I had a head of disguise. That's how we
Yeah, I
did
mean,
that.
you can do that all the time, constantly, basically, if that's what you want to do.
Alright, I'll get for real dressed up, I guess, in whatever is appropriate, and then I want to just have a crab mallet instead of my big ass hammer.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Anybody else preparing anything special before you guys head off to the palace?
I would probably just wear the same, disguise that she wore to the ball. That
Sure.
dress that had the blood flowing.
Sure. That was cool. I forgot about that.
Does prestidigitation launder your clothes?
You can clean clothes with prestidigitation, yes.
Yeah, okay.
You want to clean your clothes?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to stank going into the cathedral?
No, I don't want like death thing on there. No.
Okay, cool. All right. So let's take a quick bio, and then we'll pick up at the palace. See you in a bit.
Chris is taking us somewhere.
Chris is taking us somewhere. That's fine. We can talk while he's taking us someplace.
Oh my god, he's taking us up to the space hole.
The space
Go.
hole? He's going to the nook?
cubby hole.
He's taking us to the nook! Oh, he's gonna climb the nook with no hands or one hand?
Is he just beasting the nook right now? with
He's
his
beast
legs?
moding the nook!
Bro, do you have a beer in your other hand? What's going on here?
He's got a laptop
Beer,
in one
bro.
hand.
I know he's got a laptop in one hand. I'm trying to figure out what's in his other hand.
Balancing that on his
I
dick.
have Indian food.
Indian food. He's going to the
Oh,
nook with
wow.
Indian food and a laptop. Risky
It's about to
business.
get really rough, guys.
Oh!
Oh my god.
We're inside him now.
Yeah, we are in his.
It happened.
Yeah, he was talking about Chirag when he said Indian food.
Oh, we're now in Anatomy Park. Oh wow.
Oh, look at this. He's got like a setup. What is happening right now?
What the hell?
It's lagging, but he's got like an
got-
actual webcam.
He's got the McMaster Bible behind him.
Oh, look at this.
You can see that.
Well, they're not books that you don't know.
I
Well, we
literally
don't know.
that.
None of us
Yeah.
knew.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds like.
I'm
something.
surprised that you don't know about it, Jeff.
Is it like a hardware ordering book?
Yeah, it's the McMaster book. It's like it's the Bible for people that need screws.
Well, yeah, but I've never
Yeah.
ordered from a book. They've gone on the site.
All right.
It's called a website.
Let
They
me
have it
just,
on the
like-
internet.
The internet.
Let me just throw it out to, or like shout out to Google. Every other video chat program that I've ever used like does not automatically update the devices, and this thing just worked fucking seamlessly when I.
A plus Google sponsor us. Google.
Yeah.
That WebEx
Send-
would have done that.
Send it would not. Ouch. Woof to the max.
Yeah, I decided to come up here since Kayla was heading home.
The nook.
I call it my loft.
Your loft? Okay. You can call it loft. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Let me
Fancy
just confirm
call
we
it
are
loft.
recording audio. Great. Awesome. We're not going to have the whole rest of the session muted. Great.
Oh, great,
Great.
fantastic.
Great.
That's exciting. It's exciting.
It's exciting, yeah. I already fucked up in the beginning and had to do it twice, like the restart, so it's in the middle of Naz's recap. But nothing matters. It's fine. Nothing.
That's perfect.
All right,
They must be not-
yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. So you guys arrive at the palace, and just real quick, I'll just go to Agorian, so you can see that you guys are.
so fast. Yes.
So the palace is the big building in the south of the grid, like the big rectangle with like the semicircle at the bottom there. So this is the Midnight Temple, the star, and then under here is the palace. So you arrive at the palace, and there are several guards in front, and they seem to immediately know who you are. So you were supposed to arrive 2 hours from when I sent that message. When do you arrive? Exactly on time, early, what?
Probably 15 minutes early.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be game for that.
All right. So you arrive early, and the guards know exactly who you are, as I said, and you basically they have you wait. So they take you inside to a little like antechamber, and they have you wait until your assigned time because the queening is nothing if not punctual and schedule driven. So after the 15 minutes in the antechamber, you are led to a throne room. I have to do things. I'm curious, if I do this, what happens? Nope, that's what oh.
I do not own any token with vision.
Okay, so
Exploding.
it's cool that it did actually take you there, but it's the fact that you don't have tokens is problematic. So I'll do all that so you can see stuff, and then I'll drag your tokens
pretty.
here.
Oh,
Three
red versus
dimensional.
blue.
Yeah.
There's lots of blue there.
This is a much better map than that last.
Yeah. Really nice.
All right.
Is this how all the bad maps look?
No. You're gonna have terrible maps. You're gonna have absolutely terrible maps that you hate, I promise you. So I drag your tokens now, and this is cool because like I have like a special folder with all your tokens are. So VTT is
Everybody's
great.
here.
And started playing music. This is wild.
Is music playing?
It's kind of quiet.
It's a good VTC.
Yeah, so you all enter the throne room, and I will describe some stuff to you.
Oh wow, Joe, that's so good.
What?
The music, everything. Everything's
Oh.
good.
The magnificence of the throne room of the Imperial Palace is breathtaking. Massive columns of red marble shoot upward to the domed ceiling above. The dome is painted with a scene of hell depicting various devils roasting and torturing the enemies of the Empire. Scaffolding conceals one section of the Great Mural where painters are adding the likeness of Alexara Canceleron, Lord Marshal of the Glorious Reclamation, to the ranks of those being tormented. Members of the Imperial Court, nobles from Agorian and across the realm, fill the audience hall. Among the throngs of courtiers stand an array of uncomfortably lifelike statues in diverse poses. The Queen's collection of so-called living statues, enemies of the state petrified and displayed here for the Queen's amusement. So you walk in, you see a bunch of nobles, including a bunch of people you know. You see Lavasvia is here. The Demi-Baron Graithus Calvaderic is here. The Duke is here. Sethic is here. Vatselhoon is here. The Baroness is here. And a bunch of other nobles. So I only put a couple of tokens on the map, but you have to assume that this is packed with the important nobles of Cheliax.
And like their helpers, like their hands or whatever?
No, just them. Like they don't have Mr. Thorpe is not here, Bist is not here. This is just nobles. They don't allow their help to come to the Imperial Palace like this.
Okay.
Are any of the statues notable to us?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, they're all humans of various kinds. This one over here is an actual angel on the end, so it does appear to be an angel that is statuesque. But these are all humans. You don't know any of them.
None of them are from like recent history or relevant to any of the story, basically.
None of them are relevant to the story, but you may know some. Like you can make knowledge checks, but I don't have anything prepared for that. So you might know the history of why these people ended up here, but in general, they're just enemies of the state that the Queen had petrified. So there may be some famous ones among them, like this fighter might have done something that everybody happens to know about, but I don't have that prepared. So yes and no. So as you walk in, there is murmuring from the various patrons of the court. And the guards, there are like two more of these guards, basically walk you up to the front. So assuming you don't protest, they're going to move you up to the foot of the dais. At the far end of the hall, atop a dais of crimson and ebony marble, her infernal magistrix, Queen Abigail Thrune II, sits on an iron and obsidian throne. And I have a handout for this. Throne room.
Ooh-wee.
Ooh-wee. That's not the one I want. I want the throne room one. Show players. So you see the Queen on top of her ebony and iron throne. And she is flanked by two devils. On the left is an Aranese, one of those flying devils with the big bows, and she is in an amazingly looking set of armor with the crest of Asmodeus on her chest. And to her left, your right, is a pit fiend. You can toss me a knowledge check, knowledge planes, I guess, check to see if you know what a pit fiend is.
Nasty.
But he is utterly massive. And yeah, Nero knows. I would know. No, well, I don't think you can do private, so we have to figure that out.
I don't like that this differentiates my knowledge rolls.
Yeah, we got to, well, sorry, it's not Sync RPG. What can you do?
I'm not rolling either.
Now I can't roll any knowledge checks ever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even letting you? Good. Alright, so Vors, you don't know anything about pit fiends. You just know that they're powerful devils. You've heard of them, but have no idea. Bob, you're in a similar way. So Ayuin and Nero, you both know about pit fiends, and you've read a lot and heard a lot about them, but you've never been in the presence of one before, and he is utterly terrifying. He is huge, just rippling with muscles and spikes, and just visibly intimidating. So as you all approach him, you need to make a will save, because he is horrifying.
I study him.
Okay.
And Abigail. And I guess
Studying the Queen.
Yeah.
I win! Look at that shit.
Oh.
Where do I make saves?
So you click on yourself, and it's like in your the first tab summary. There's like
Mhm.
there's like
Oh yeah.
groups. You click on the dice thing.
So we'll save, right?
Yeah, so we'll save. All right.
Plus 3.
Plus 3. So Iwan and Nero, you are not afraid of this horrifying monster. Maybe your knowledge helped you. But Dern and Vors, you are shakingly terrified in front of him. So you're not to the point of running away, but it's constantly on your mind that you should be. And Bob, you were in Zero.
Can I swift action blood rage for 6 seconds and be immune to shaken?
I don't advise doing that in the presence of the queen, but that's up to you.
She has to know what he is, though, right?
She knows what he is.
Okay.
Well, I would like to shake it off at least. I'd be a little bitch if I was scared in front of the queen. So.
So you're gonna do it. So you're gonna do it. You're gonna walk up and you're startled. You look at this guy. He's a general. His name is General Gorthoclick, and he is well known. You don't know who he is because you rolled very poorly, but he is a well-known general in Hell's armies that the queen has called to serve her.
Well, I'm gonna ask you a question, and then you tell me if I'm gonna die. Like, I imagine Dern is like an animal, so he gets startled. The thing comes out, and he shakes it off, and he goes back to normal.
Fair enough. Yeah. I'm down. That's Dern. Yeah.
That's me.
So you're scared. You go wide-eyed for a moment, and then your inner aberrant thing pops out for a moment, and you shake it off, and then you push the demon back down.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with that. So Bob and Vors, you're not running away, but the back of your mind is terrified, and like you feel like you should be running away, but you know this is important enough not to do it. So you are taking a -4 on all your d20s, but you are not physically running away from the queen.
Bob's gonna rub his hammer.
That's what you do when you're stressed out.
Yeah, it's like a blanket.
The tiny crab
The
mount?
tiny crab mallet.
So, the queen, sitting on her iron and obsidian throne, looks like a figure wrought from alabaster. She would almost appear fragile if not for her steely eyes and regal bearing. As you approach, she appears to look through you, through the entire world, as if seeing some infernal truth behind reality's crude guise. And I have another handout. You can see her specifically if you care.
If I close the handout, is there a way to reopen it?
I don't think so. I can send it again
Okay.
if you want.
No, that's fine. No big deal.
But yeah, you can see her dressed in her black and crimson.
How do we make future requests on this?
They have a GitHub.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So all that. So you guys rolled knowledge checks, both Iwan and Nero. Okay. So Iwan and Nero both know that the Aranese here is named Contessa Lyrithala, sorry. And she was sent by Asmodeus herself to assist her great-grandmother when they originally signed the Hellfire Compact to make Thrune infernally linked. And she served as a tutor to the child Abigail was, so she's been like with her entire life, basically raised her partially, and is now, the prime advisor. Gorthoclek on the side is a pit fiend. According to the rumor, Abigail II altered the infernal contract that her grandmother had signed, and as part of that, Gorthoclek was bound here to the mortal plane to serve her. The devil is an advisor to the queen and an emissary to Asmodeus directly. And he has this horrible fear power that you are now aware of. There is some question as to whether Gorthoclek is here to serve Abigail or to help control her in the name of Asmodeus, but the noble court seems to believe, based on interactions between the two, that Abigail is in charge, and if anything, the devil reins in her worst impulses, not the other way around. You are escorted to the foot of the dais, where your royal herald announces you to the court. So they call out and say, "These are the heroes of the Empire," and they name you one by one. Vors Abernus, Nero, Bob Elzuv, Iwan, and Dern. And there is subdued clapping. The queen does not clap. Everybody can toss me a knowledge nobility check.
I do have that.
Good.
1 point.
Do you want us to roll these secretly, or?
I don't think you can. I don't know if there's a button to do it secretly, so just roll them publicly. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah. Hang on, watch private GM roll. See if you see it.
Yeah, I got that.
Oh yeah, question marks for us.
Cool. All right, let me see what it says. Okay, cool. Oh, we can roll them secretly from now on, but that's fine. Did Vors roll? There he goes. So Vors, Nero, and Iwan, you all are aware that it is proper etiquette to kneel at this point after being announced in front of the Queen. Vors and Bob do not know that.
Dern.
Wait,
Dern-
what?
Sorry, yes, Dern and Bob do not know that.
Dern would have done it instinctively though.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Boris
asleep.
would tap like Bob on the shoulder if he sees him nod, and instantly, like starting to kneel. Be like, come on, buddy.
Is Bob okay kneeling?
Yeah, why not?
All right. So you kneel, and the Queen deigns to look down at you and gestures for you to rise again. And she
Boris
says,
reaches over, like taps Bob to stand back up.
It's like getting married.
So the queen looks at you, and again, she has this gaze that appears to be looking straight through you as she does so. And she says, "We have heard reports of your resourcefulness and capability, but we now wish to hear it from the lips of our own agents. Tell us of your achievements so that we might determine whether you are suited for a mission of the utmost importance."
Boris speaks up and says, how would you address like your evidence or
Magistrix.
your magistrix? We dare not waste your time. Is there any particular information that you'd like us to share with you firsthand?
And she shakes her head and says, we've heard whispers and have read the official reports. What would you say to represent yourself? What have you done?
I mean, most notably yesterday we rooted out at least a cell of the Bellflower Network. And in single combat, defended ourselves against Mayor Lichter, the Order of the Scourge. Prior to that, we uncovered a plot to undermine her magistrix like power by House Vex by trying to take control of the Hellgate. And we secured Cantaria in your name.
She nods along the whole time, and when you mentions the Hellgate, she asks some specific pointed questions. He says, "So what do you know of Vex's plans?"
I'll have to defer to Nero, House Nero. He was able to read the books. I'm sorry.
No, she nods and doesn't seem displeased at all, and she turns to you, Nero.
So Nero will just run down in general terms what the details of the contract were, that he planned to turn the gate away from Moloch and use it to carve out a piece of the Empire himself. He thought he could use the tumult caused by the Glorious Reclamation to break away from the Empire without major incident.
She nods along, and she looks at the assembled court around you. He says, and you put down his rebellion, yes?
What didn't amount to much of a rebellion when we put it down, yes.
She nods and says, what of the gate now?
The gate remains under Moloch's control. The tieflings of Sonara are in revolt and are trying to rid the city of the Glorious Reclamation to rejoin the Empire.
And does anyone guard the gate now?
Just the well, I forget what they're called.
Burning Knights.
The Burning Knights of Moloch that were there to begin with.
She nods
From
and
what
she
I
looks at the
understand-
others to see if you have anything to add to the Inferno Gate.
From what I understand, they have a plan based on what Fex was planning to try and wrest the gate, to turn the devils to good, I suppose is the way they would view it. We've removed and Nero will give a short recount of how we liberated the books from Sonara and basically took a key part of that away from them so that it's going to be more difficult for them to wrest the gate from Moloch's control.
Her stone-faced demeanor smirks for just a moment when you mention that they're trying to turn devils good, and she looks towards Contessa next to her and Gorthlek next to her, and she says, they plan to turn devils good? And you believe this possible?
It would amount to mind control, slavery, but theoretically it should be possible if they were able to. What Fex had planned was to use a soul of a worshiper of Moloch, that one there, and use it to craft a key to the gate so that they could wrest control of it from Moloch himself and basically enslave all of the devils to come through to the devil that was guarding it at the time. They, I would assume, plan to do something similar, maybe with an angel of some sort.
She looks back at Contessa and Gorthlek, and they both nod in her direction, as if kind of assenting to the fact that it is theoretically possible. What he's saying is true. And she nods. She says, well, perhaps we should invest more in controlling such an interesting resource. And her advisors again nod. And she looks to the rest of you. Anybody want to speak up? What have you done?
We've thwarted the glorious reclamation at every opportunity. We put them down in Longacre. We put them down in Cantaria. We put them down in Sonara, and we'll probably have to do it again. And everywhere they go, we will follow them and end them just like we have before.
She seems happy with that, yeah. And she turns to Bob. She just looks at you, Bob. She gazes almost again through you.
Yes.
She's
Whoa,
she's
dude.
waiting for you to say something. What have you done?
What haven't I done?
Whoa!
The backbone of this team.
I hope you're not.
She
saying
looks
that.
at the sigil on your chest and says, "You serve as Modius then? Or sorry, you serve Moloch then?
I do.
Is your loyalty first most to him or to the Empire?"
Him.
She nods, and she says, "So if Moloch's desires and our desires differed, you would favor his opinion."
Yeah.
She nods shallowly and says, "It's a good thing that our opinions align in most cases, then."
I would agree.
She respects that. She says, "Do you belong to any order or church?"
Probably.
Oh god, that's immoral.
All right. So, because you don't know, I guess we'll have to figure out if you actually do.
Church of the Moloch, no?
So,
Yeah, Michael doesn't know. Like a church originally sent you to Cantaria. That was how you got involved.
yeah, but
So-
we did some horrible shit. I gave up my god somewhere in the middle of that.
Yeah, but you also got him back by
Yeah.
saying, "Moloch, it's your boy.
Yeah.
Give me the shiz. Give me the good shiz." All right. So she looks over at Dern. And she says, "Ah, yes, the beast we procured in Corentin. You've been
My queen." And he'll do the
whatever the bad salute is. Yeah.
yeah, whatever the bad thing is.
You've been through quite a few handlers during your short time in our service.
Yes, my queen.
She says, "The most recent one, Nastheratrix, has echoed all the others, calling you impossible to control effectively. He claims that you are so simple-minded that you simultaneously are incapable of following direct orders and lack any sort of initiative to achieve things on your own."
My queen, I don't believe this is true. The results are as you've seen. I've had good success with my compatriots, including Nero of House Nero. He's somewhat of a handler himself.
She tilts her head and says, "As we understand it, you were recently given a simple task that most of our agents would be unqualified for, to infiltrate the Bellflower network. As a slip, you had a distinct, unique advantage. And as the documents show, you were successful, but from your handler's reports, you seemed completely unable to do anything meaningful until aligning yourself with this Nero. Is that accurate?"
My queen, I was unsure of even his allegiances. I had
Not
to play the
Theratrix?
fool. I had to play the fool in order to find the Bellflowers.
Whose allegiances have you questioned?
Not Theratrix.
He has been a loyal servant of the crown for decades. What makes you doubt his service?
The Bellflowers and your enemies seem to be deep-rooted.
Indeed, but has he given you cause for concern?
No, but above all, I report to you in your interests.
She seems a bit unsure of what you're saying, but accepts it. She says, "You are a useful tool, but we've yet to find the correct person to wield you."
Clears his throat. Well, my queen, I have found great success with this band of loyal agents to you. Perhaps they may be my handler.
And she looks over the rest of the party and back at you and says nothing. Iwan, do you want to use Maggie?
I mean, if the queen is specifically interested about something.
Well, she's asking you what she's asking you what you've done. She's asking for name your achievements, describe things to me now that I would not have read in reports.
Okay. Well, I mean, so Iwan would talk a lot about stuff outside of Gregorian, like, you know, what she and the party did to the Glorious Reclamation, some of the torture mechanisms, the soul wrenching, all that kind of stuff. But then, you know, she'll say, more recently I've gotten better eyes on things, and she'll kind of gesture to the Zebub and say, this one witnessed the recent uprooting of the Bellflower, if you're interested to see for yourself.
And she nods and she seems surprised and she says, "Of course." And she gestures for Boozabub, aka Maggie, to come to her.
Question: do we have the Zabub when we fought the Glorious Reclamation Knights that were mounted on like flying horses and flying unicorns?
I don't think so, but even if we did, like, the Zebub can only store memories for a day.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah,
That's the rub.
I have mixed emotions on that now. Like, I figure, like, you basically want a camera. I should just let you have a camera.
It's fine. I actually like it this way. It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. Good.
All right. So you can show everything that happened the last day, but you're going to show her specifically the Bellflower stuff? The things you've picked out, you've coordinated with Maggie, not to show embarrassing things.
Yeah, right. Like,
fair enough.
She'll say, like, you know, I've got the highlights teed up for you, so...
Yeah. And again, within a couple of seconds, she gets, like, hours worth of data just played to her mind. And she sits there for a moment, and then focuses back on you, Iowa, and she nods and says, "Yes, this is masterful." And she's like she's playing it back in her head. She's watching you overthrow the Glorious Reclamation, all the fights you did room by room. You killed the Azadas, you killed, Halthondis, how you discovered the whole thing, like in the morning, how you got all the things ready, how you used Corey to get inside. All of these things proving not just the fact that you're powerful, horrible monsters, but also you know how to get things done. You proved out what you were trying to do, you got yourself in the door, and you stomped the yard. So she's thoroughly impressed by this. Would you like to add anything else?
No, just like basically should be like, you can see that when we strike, we make sure we're successful. We prepare the field from afar.
She nods in agreement. After you're all done describing and she's done watching the Maggie highlight reel, she says, "Your deeds demonstrate both your talents and your loyalty, and it seems that our faith in naming you trusted agents was not misplaced." And as she says that, she turns to Nero. She says, "All but you. As we understand it, you refuse to devote your mind, your total loyalty, to our house, to our empire. Why?"
I am a servant of the Godclaw, and at the time I didn't feel as though it was prudent to align myself to a course of action that might forbid me from pursuing something in the interest of my order.
You've sworn an oath to a dead order?
As long as I live, it's not dead.
She nods, but adds quickly, "We've heard nothing from or of the Godclaw in months. Their citadel has served as the heart of the Glorious Reclamation's little insurrection."
Sorry, naked baby.
No problem. Naked baby's important.
Anyhow, sorry about that. You continue.
Yeah, so I'll repeat it. We've heard nothing from or of the Godclaw in months. Their citadel has served as the heart of the Glorious Reclamation's little insurrection.
I'm hoping to remedy that shortly. I've recently gained the power to try and reach my compatriots and see what still remains.
She nods and then asks, "Do your duties to your order conflict with your loyalties to us and the Empire?"
Previously, I believe they did. The more that the Glorious Reclamation has asserted itself as more than a nuisance to you, I think our interests align more and more. Much like you said about Moloch, it's a good thing that our interests align.
She asked, "Would you so swear your loyalty now, before your magistrates and the assembled court? Would you swear your loyalty and your mind to House Thrune?"
I would.
Okay. Zabub moves from around behind her, and he has a contract already prepared and a dagger for you to provide blood as part of the ritual. If so, you're going to go through with the Thrune Trusted Agent thing?
It would seem like a poor idea not to at this point.
Okay.
Little's choice.
Okay. So we can just hand wave it. That happens. The Zabub is there to make sure you sign the contract and to file it away, and they take a sample of your blood to keep on file. Naked baby.
My baby peed in the toilet. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
That's
Congratulate your baby.
I'll do some filler. Maybe it's not the right, but
Turn's just riffing now. Go ahead.
my queen, may I make a request?
She turns the O.
Now that it is clear he serves you, may he become my handler.
And she says, Perhaps. We have a mission intended for you and these others, and we shall see how he does handling you on that mission. But she turns back to Nero, and she says, Batzelhoon, and she gestures behind you to where Batzelhoon is. Batzelhoon speaks highly of you, cannot say enough about your honor and loyalty to the Empire, but he does not say these things about your order. He believes that some of your brothers and sisters may have even aligned themselves with the Glorious Reclamation after the Citadel's fall. What do you think of that?
I think that if that's true, then there will be people to be rooted out. I think that would be heretical to what the Godclaw represents. And I would personally pass judgment on anyone that I found guilty of that.
She seems very pleased with that. She says, so if you meet one of your compatriots, and they do carry the flag of the banner of those rabble-rousers, you would...
Put them to the sword the same way I would the Glorious Reclamation.
She nods very obviously.
The sword would be the best they could get.
She seems even happier that you would say that. Yeah, so she seems very pleased with the fact that you sworn your oath and you seem to have placed the Empire above the Order itself. So she looks you all over and she seems rather happy with everything you've presented to her. And she looks over the assembled court, which is mostly sitting in astonishment at this point. And she looks back at you and says, decades ago, my great-grandmother, Abigail I, forged a pact with the Prince of Darkness in the Winter Grove at the heart of the Barrowwood. Now, once each year, the Infernal Magistrates must undertake a pilgrimage to the Winter Grove and perform a sacrifice to renew Thrun's contract with Hell. The time for the sacrifice is at hand, and Hell's full support is required while we put down this upstart insurrection. Normally, we would make this journey ourselves, but our advisors are concerned, and she looks at the devils to her side, that our absence, even a temporary one, could give our enemies renewed vigor and engender even more seditious thoughts among those whose loyalty is not as resolute as we would hope. We need someone to make the sacrifice in our stead, and we have chosen you. There is audible gasping throughout the assembled court. You can make a knowledge check if you want knowledge history.
Does this mean, like, we're sacrificing ourselves?
No, you do not believe that to be the case.
Okay. That would be bad.
But all of you are aware that this involves a human sacrifice, yes. This is a thing that happens every year.
Human or humanoid? Throw an elf in there?
I'll go with humanoid, but we'll see what... Yeah, so this is knowledge history. Nero made it. Vors knows a little bit.
Darren's not going to bother.
Okay. So, Vors, you are aware that every year the Chelish crown has this big sort of, like, almost a parade from here towards the Barrowwood. And you're aware that it has something to do with the Infernal Pact, as she's saying, but you don't know any of the specifics. There's basically just, like, a caravan where the Queen and some of the court and a bunch of soldiers go westward towards the Barrowwood, and that it has something to do with the pact between Hell and Cheliax, and specifically House Thru. Iwin and Nero, you both know that it is not just a parade, that there is actually like a sacrament being performed along the way. The Queen supposedly sneaks out to different standing stones and performs some sort of a ritual sacrifice at all of them. It is equal parts ceremony and propaganda. It's useful for the people to see this sort of like holiday thing happening, the Queen doing this thing. And it's very interesting that she's asking you to do this for her. Nero specifically knows that there is precedent for this, but it has only happened once in the 70 or so years that the Chelish Empire has ruled. So only before has the Queen or King not made this sacrifice himself. This is the second time that's happened ever, that she is not making the trek herself.
Sunir will make some sort of mention of that you would honor us with only the second instance of this happening, blobbity blobbity.
And she nods and says, I would do it myself. And as she says that, Gortho Kleck kind of looks at her like, you should not. And she sighs. She says, I would do it myself, if it were possible. And she turns back to you and says, do this for us, and your loyalty to your queen and empire will be unquestioned and well rewarded.
It'll be done.
She looks at the rest of you. Is everybody in agreement? Anybody want to say anything?
And I would again gesture towards Maggie and basically be like, we'll make sure that you're there in spirit.
She nods, excited that she may be able to see some of it.
Yeah, chef.
Boris?
I do the salute.
Okay. You just assent to Vores, or do you say anything specific?
Oh, I just said as your queen wills it.
Okay. So as you all accept, she stands from her throne. She raises her arms to the assembled court, which are all now at attention, and she says, behold! These 5 are heroes of the Empire, their mettle and convictions tested, tried, and found to be true. On our authority, they have been commissioned to renew the infernal pact between House Thrune and Asmodeus. They will leave within the hour. She then nods at the 2 nearest guards, which come over to you, and gesture for you to follow them out. They're leading you this way.
They do that.
Okay, so...
So, unless anybody's doing something before, as they gesture the group out, Iwan would try to position herself to be in the back and lag a little bit behind.
Okay.
And would basically, like, quickly touch her hat. So when her back's to the queen, touch her hat and kind of, like, drop some papers that she's holding in her hands. And, like, such a klutz, and start, like, kind of picking them up. And on the back of her dress, a message would appear, which would say, I know how to control the gate. And she'd leave it there for a bit. And as she gathers up her papers, she'd stand back up and touch the hat again and would say, I'll share in private, send an agent, or something like that. And then would kind of like make her way with the rest of the group.
She nods, and you get the sense, even without a sense motive check, you get the sense that she definitely caught the message. And she says, we will be with you shortly. And the guards usher you away. And I need to pee again, so I'll be right back. But you guys can hang out.
So many beers.
So many
Who are we
beers.
sacrificing? And Dern will turn to anyone.
I don't think we were told.
I would
Right.
assume that they're tell us that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not one of us, because she
It could
she
be.
does that.
No, I would think not.
I mean, we've all proven valuable. I would imagine she'd want to keep it that way. Presumably, she'll pick somebody who's been less valuable.
It depends on the covenant that they have.
Let's be honest, we're all disposable. She's sacrificing one of us isn't really much of a sacrifice for her.
Especially me.
You're kind of.
I mean,
not sure it would go.
nobody else has done anything to stop this glorious reclamation crap, so
Not everybody's allegiances are very clear, though.
What about her? And he'll glance at Lavasvia as he's walking out. That's a good sacrifice. That's a twofer. That's a 2-bagger.
were you recording, by the way, Joe?
I
You
was.
actually
I
you
didn't
would've
hear
gotten
it, but the
some-
recording heard it.
You would have
when he
gotten some
was
party chatter on that, yeah.
Well, I'll check later for your secrets.
Yeah, he'll look back. He says he's talking about who they're sacrificing. He'll say to the party, "What about her? That's a 2-bagger."
Hey, keep it down.
It's actually a dagger because there's another person on top of her, but whatever.
So
You
you
know
were.
what happens? You know what happens if they decide that you can't be handled, right?
Yes, like any dog, they get put down.
Yeah. So part of that is your mouth. So maybe it's when we're in private areas, whatever you want to say is fine. But when we're in public, you need to keep the outbursts like that to a minimum.
Well, we understand. That's why we picked you as the handler.
I like how the Queen uses we and also Dern uses we for different reasons, but
We, they, thou.
Vorse subtly pulls a ball gag out of his pocket and
In his pocket.
yeah, obviously. Don't kink shame.
Suddenly it appears in Dern's hand.
What is it?
It's a ball gag.
A ball gag?
Oh, from now?
It just appeared in your hands. He walked by you, and now there's a ball gag in your hand.
And he looks at it, and he looks at Boris, and he says, "Now?"
If you can't keep your mouth shut.
Yes. Okay, I get it.
Okay.
I only mean the best.
Vorse takes it back.
Steal it back.
The party is whisked away by guards to a small chamber with none of the impressive architecture or fineries of the throne room, where your heroics were exalted. The walls here are made of a smooth metal, and there is a thick, circular wooden table with 6 chairs. In the center of the table is a shiny glass orb with the darkest of ebony clouds circling inside of it. And you're in the room for a few minutes alone. The guards leave you inside. Everybody can
What is
toss
it?
me a perception check. It's a good question. What is it? You can make a knowledge check if you want. It is
What kind?
Great question. Go with Arcana.
Come on in.
Yeah, so perception checks. Everybody but Bob realizes that the metal on the walls is lead. There is a thick sheet of lead surrounding this entire room. Hi, Yana. Hi. Hi.
Buddy.
What did you say?
Again. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
Yana.
night.
Good night. Sleep well. Night, Yana. Everybody but Bob realizes this room is basically coated in a lead wall.
What does that do? What's the effect of that? Give us blow cancer?
I'm not going to make you roll another check. Everybody who made that first check knows that a lead of that size will prevent divination-type magics from working in this room. And then we have the secret knowledge arcana checks, and Iwan and Nero, neither of you know what this thing is in the center of the table. What is? You also don't know. Boris also does not know. And based on your previous knowledge and ability checks, all of you but Bob would know that would be rude to sit at the table before the queen arrives.
Hey, Bob, have a seat.
Does Bob sit down?
Is Vorse being serious? Or?
No one else
do
has
that.
sat down, but he told you to take a seat.
Let him roll the sense motive.
Yeah.
Yeah, roll a sense motive. See if you can tell. Make a bluff versus sense motive. There you go. That's pretty good. Make a bluff, Vorse.
You studying, Bob?
Fuck,
Ooh.
yeah. All
Yeah,
right, fine, I do
you
it.
believe him. Yeah.
You
Yeah, I do it then.
Get
Okay.
up.
so- Nero
Alright,
bails
tell
you
me to get
out.
up.
Yeah.
All right, I get up.
So after a few minutes, the queen enters with Contessa and another Zabub. She sits, devils behind her, barely glancing over each of you before waiting for you to seat. Take a seat. Alright.
Or should sit in, I guess, like the most important seat? Or
You want to sit close to the queen? Because again, it's a circular table with 6 chairs. You can sit fairly close to the queen if you like.
I mean, if there's 6 chairs, then we have to sit next to the queen.
Correct, yes. But like you'll be sitting like feet away from the queen, yes.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, you want to sit
Oh,
adjacent
yeah.
to the queen. Is anybody else fighting, jockeying for position? Dern, you don't care? Okay.
Wherever.
Okay, so Vors is the only person that cares. He's sitting next to the queen. Nothing else matters. But she gets right down to it. She doesn't introduce anything. She doesn't say thank you. She just right down to business. Right after all of you sit, she says, as we said, she glances at Nero for a moment, referencing your order. There are some who would see the renewal of our infernal contract disrupted or corrupted or denied entirely. The will of the glorious reclamation is strong. You can tell that it pains her to say that. But it is nothing compared to some of the Chelish noble houses who desire their own ascension to the throne, or those in the church who would have the position done away with entirely, declaring the empire a theocracy. That is why you are here. You are among our most trusted and capable agents, having sworn your loyalty to us and proven your devotion through your actions. We believe that you will see this sacrament through. And she looks over all of you.
Let the record show, not trusting Theratrix made sense. You could be going for the power too.
Do you say that, or you just is that a note? That's Shirag noting that.
That's
Okay.
a Shirag side note, seeing the plot coming.
Okay. So she looks you all over, and if you've added nothing, she asks. She says, "As you are likely aware, the sacrifice is something of a pilgrimage. There will be no grand caravan this year, and I shall not be in attendance. Our troops and supplies are needed elsewhere for far more pressing things, as you can imagine. But the trip must still be made on foot, as per the terms of the original contract." She reaches over her shoulder like this, and without so much as a word or a gesture other than that, Contessa slaps a rolled-up parchment into her hand. She unrolls it on the table, presenting a map of the empire west of Agorian with several markings on it. And she says, "You must travel to each of 9 standing stones, in order, and smear the blood of our human sacrifice on each one. After the final standing stone, you must venture deep into the Barrowwood and find the Winter Grove, where my great-grandmother first signed the pact with Hell. Within the swirling storm of ice lies an altar, and it is there that you will perform the final sacrifice." And she looks at all of you, trying to assess if you understand.
Do you have a handout for that?
I don't. I have a separate map. I could just take you there, I guess. Why not? Scene, pilgrimage, navigation.
So-
enable- Yes, sir.
Nero would be curious why 9. Is there any significance to 9? Is there any significance to...
There are 9 archdevils in hell, Asmodeus being the most powerful one.
Okay.
Activate. So imagine it's a hand-drawn map instead of like this, but whatever. So you're in Agorian. There's a giant lake, Lake Sorrow. So there are 9 standing stones. And if you zoom out, there's also a W deep within the Barrowwood. So she lays it out for you.
How long would this take?
You believe that to get to the first one is probably 2 or 3 days, but after that, everything would be within a day of each other.
Okay. Okay. So this is days, weeks kind of thing.
The scale is accurate. If you click on the basic controls at the top left, and there's a little ruler in the right thing, you can measure, and each square is 5 miles. And even I have oh boy, someone's doing the other thing. So not that ruler. So if you click on the person icon on the top left, the right submenu basically presents a
Cool.
You can use a ruler there, if that makes sense. So don't use the actual templating tool. Use the person and then the ruler is the third icon there. So again, every square is 5 miles, and I think I did the map. I think I have a handout for this. So if I do overland speeds and I do show players, so you have to do it on foot. You can't even use horseback, she stresses. You have to do it on foot. So even at 20 feet, even at like gnome and halfling speed, you can walk 16 miles in a day. And everything other than the first one is within 16 miles of each other. So once you get to the first one after a day and a half or two, you will be like 1 day between each one if you like. And looking at the map, anybody who knows anything about geography, I don't even need you to make a knowledge check, knows that the first 3 of them are within the Chelish core and are very well patrolled. Like some of them are outside noble estates, some of them are in very well traveled areas. So you don't believe that there'd be any problems there. But once you get further and further west, although Cheliax officially claims the territory, there's very few inhabitants there. And there's brigands, there's mischievous fae in the forest, things like that. So as you get further from Agorian proper, you're in the wilderness basically.
Okay.
Is there anything in the contract about like any restrictions on bringing any sort of minions?
She shakes her head no, and she reflects the fact that usually she takes an entire caravan, like dozens of soldiers and other things, and she basically makes a pilgrimage out of it. Like a Mansa Musa kind of thing, where she basically does this every year. It's a big, it's like a holiday, where she goes through all of these things. And although she doesn't take the entire caravan to all of the standing stones, and she doesn't make a big deal of making the sacrifice, she stops by local towns, she stops by local villas, and she makes it a big deal. Like, this is a ceremony that happens every year. I'm renewing the pact, guys. Hey, this is great. We're aligning ourselves with hell again. So you can take as many people as you want, but it must be walked. You can't fly, you can't ride horses, you can't teleport. As part of the contract, it's a sacrifice, both in the act of the person you're sacrificing and the walking out to the middle of the forest.
Sure. My queen, should we move with fanfare or stealth?
She nods at you and appreciates your question. Says stealth. And she says, there won't be any fanfare, there won't be any large caravan or anything like that. With the Glorious Reclamation posing such a threat, who's to say what they will do or what others will take the opportunities to do? As you've said, Fex and others and Sonara and things like that, they saw this as an opportunity. So they saw this chaos within the Empire as an opportunity. Who's to say what will happen, who will try what? There are vipers throughout the entire court.
Yes.
And she says, obviously everyone knows you're going. We've announced it in the court itself. But you should not make a big deal of where you're going or when you will be arriving.
My queen, Hoosh, this requires a human sacrifice.
She nods.
Is that up to our discretion, or do you have someone in mind?
I have someone in mind. We must show our dedication to hell by sacrificing someone who is close to us. It must be a personal loss, she says. That is the nature of a sacrifice, after all. But we must thank you, for you have helped us to decide who the sacrifice should be. There are snakes of all kinds slithering around the capital, constantly writhing and positioning themselves against the others, hoping to gain some tiny advantage to come out on top that day. Such is the nature of power, and those who would seek it, I suppose. However, It seems that our good friend, the Archcountess Lavasvia Vasvian, has stretched beyond her reach. We knew she was working with House Narcopolis in her efforts to regain their land and property, and we couldn't care less about such squabbles. But their maneuvers around you and the meddling with the Abernus family were misguided and ham-fisted. To follow through with it all, especially after you had gained such notoriety in court, was beyond foolish. Obviously, we wouldn't be having this conversation if she had succeeded, but here we are. And she looks at you, trying to size up what you think about that.
Darren is smiling and nodding.
Anybody else reacting in any visible way?
He also agrees.
Yana is
She says good
down.
night.
Good night.
Yes. I'm sorry. I missed the tail end because someone was yelling in my ear. But
We go and sacrifice Lavasvia. What do you think?
no, I got that. Certainly was beyond the pale of what she should have done. Even the Narcopolis legal redress is easy. Murder is another thing entirely.
She nods and says, Cloak and Dagger is part of being a noble. It's part of the court of Agorian, but again, so ham-fisted, so obvious. It's distasteful.
All dagger, no cloak, yeah.
She nods. Then she adds, the Dotari and the Church are both in agreement. The murder of Ned Abernus lies squarely at their feet, there being Lavasvia and House Narcopolis. There are some questions as to the extent of the involvement of the various parties, but it is clear enough. We are certain that Lavasvia Vasvian was directly involved in the assassination of the Abernus Patriarch and the attempt to frame Vors for it. She was at least tangentially related to convincing your cousins of your guilt, and by Rod's own words, coaxed from his corpse by Batzelhoon himself, she tipped them off to your location yesterday, at the manor, at the Vanio. Though not yet confirmed, the rumor among the court is that the spectacle last night with the Marilictor was also of her arrangement. We don't fully understand this vendetta, why Lavisvia seems to have such contempt for your family, she says, gesturing towards Vors, or why she has lashed out so viciously. We have never known her to act this way before. She seems to have aligned herself strongly with House Narcopolis, but for their part, they have disavowed her and her rash actions. With everything being so overt and maladroit, something serious must be done. The other snakes are watching, and they can't be allowed to think this behavior is tolerable. And she looks you all over for another moment before adding, an excruciation would be fitting. She's fortunate that we have a more immediate use for her body, and don't have the time for one beforehand. Anybody want to say anything?
Hell yes, my queen.
My queen, she offered to be my patron in the court, and I snubbed her. I did not expect her to react so harshly when I did.
She nods and seems as surprised as you. She says, it does not seem that her reaction is in line with what you say. We don't understand. We don't understand the vendetta. It makes no sense to us. She's been a friend for years. She's been a useful informant and a powerful noble at court. We've never known her to act so rashly. She's like a vicious dog.
Darren chuckles.
She nods slightly at you as you do.
My queen, I would kill her now if you asked me to.
She looks
and
at
eat her corpse.
No, she looks to you, her gaze ice cold, as a single syllable drops from her mouth. Illith. the halfling word for alive before she looks back at the others.
Is Illith one syllable?
Ilf. Fine.
Single
Ilf.
word.
I'm many beers deep. I wrote Ilf and I said Illith. It's my fault for being.
That's okay. Everything.
Lagunitas sucks.
Lagunitas, shout out.
That is not a disparagement of the brand. That is their 2020 brew, where they specifically comment on the year.
How are you not sending us stuff? Right now, we're looking to be sponsored by 1162 USA Limited, makers of
Yeah.
good thing. Bigger good thing. Bigger good thing.
Ixnay on the 1162.
1162.
So anyway, getting back to it. So she nods at you, Dern, and tells you alive in halfling. She speaks slip.
Joe?
Yeah.
Would it be out, I guess, like, based on Vors's knowledge of, like, nobility and whatnot, would it be out of line to ask about the status of his house currently?
Of his house currently? No.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can, sure.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess Vors would wait for a break or a pause and ask, my queen, so with with all the deaths in my house, like, what is your Majesty's view, like, on its status? Like, yeah.
As we understand it, as you are innocent in all of the recent happenings, control of your house would fall to your mother as the eldest in your family, but do this for us, and anything can be yours.
Thank you, my queen.
And she has,
You will be done.
she nods. And you'll remember that your mother didn't marry your uncle because she wanted to. Your uncle basically positioned himself so that when your father died, he made all of the connections that your father had, and would have basically forced your mother out or killed her indirectly. So she was basically forced to do that and to kind of officiate his ascension to the throne, or the head of the family. So your mother didn't just do it because she wanted to.
Your Majesty. A public execution has theatric application. Since she's been a loyal servant, how would you have us handle her on the pilgrimage?
And she says, she's been a loyal servant, but she has extended beyond her reach. An example must be made of her. The others cannot believe such things would be tolerated. And she pauses for a moment and says, even if they thought a quick death was the reprisal for such actions, that would be too much. They must know. They must know. And she says, the sacrifice must be alive for the ritual, but it still works if the fruit is bruised.
All right.
And as you finish answering your questions, she adds, be well aware that Levisvia is not at all as naive or dim-witted as she often portrays herself to be. She is clever and shrewd, both in social environments and her business dealings, and she is well-versed in the arcane. She looks to Iwin, having seen a lot of your actions through the Zabub. She says, you understand these things. The slipperiness of one with a well-studied mind. To capture her, you will need to take her by surprise and be relentless. If given even the briefest moment, she will disappear, scattered into the wind. And she looks at you to see if you understand.
I would nod and say, I've slipped out of a lot of situations myself. And I also know how to make sure that one gets stuck.
She nods knowingly. And then she
Okay.
adds... Sorry? Go
Vors would ask if you said alive. What if she has to be brought back? Does she need to remain alive the entire time, or can she be?
The Queen stresses that she needs to be alive, but Joe stresses that if you cast Resurrection on somebody and they don't want to come back, it fails. So, like, if you're like, for example, if you were torturing someone and killed them and then wanted to bring them back to torture them some more, they could just say no.
Okay. Cool.
So
Right,
you would believe, and she would kind of hint at the fact that if you killed her, she might not come back.
I guess if Vors knew that, he can ask that question.
I don't know if Vors knows that, but it's fine. Vors knows it now. So she adds, once you've captured her, I recommend keeping her tightly restrained. Search her thoroughly, and she again glances at Ivan. Do not allow her to hide anything that she can use against you. You know what to look for. Even innocuous things can be reagents for powerful magic.
Strip
I
her
understand.
There?
down. We'll strip her down, yeah.
Oh.
And again,
Oh.
she looks at you, Durin, and she repeats again the halfling word for alive.
Yes, definitely. Definitely, my queen. Understood. Understood.
And then she looks over all of you and says, I trust you to defend the sacrifice with your lives, if necessary. Our dealings with hell are of great consequence, and should the sacrifice not survive the journey, one of you will be required to take its place and complete the mission.
I'll
She
do this.
needn't walk.
Sorry?
She needn't walk. We have to walk.
She nods. Again, a bruised is fine as long as she's alive, but do not allow her to die along the way. If someone is looking to deny the ritual from happening, they may just seek to kill her outright.
Fair enough.
And in which case, one of you would be required to take her place and complete the mission. And as she looks over you, as you may look moderately concerned about the idea of one of you having to die, she adds, you should be pleased. It means you are important to me. Durin does the bad salute.
Not it.
It's gonna be Durin. everyone.
Shot not. All right.
It'll be Durin. I'll re-roll a bard. It'll be fine.
It'll be wonderful. It'll be the best.
I'm not doing a bard, by the way. Oh god, that was so bad.
Dude, it's awful.
You didn't. Yeah, it's a long story.
I couldn't.
Anyhow,
Anyhow,
Yes.
yeah. So she's essentially done. She's explained the mission to you, and if you have any questions, she's there to answer them. You have the Queen's ear. Anything else you want to say?
So I would, we needn't take any more of your time with this, but is there somebody we can ask questions about the contract just so we make sure we don't violate it? These devils look for any out in contracts to not honor things. We want to make sure we don't inadvertently trigger one of their conditions.
She nods and she appreciates the fact that you didn't want to waste her time, but she stresses that she is the one who knows best, her and the devils currently present. So she's willing to take the time to make sure that you fully understand everything.
Okay. Well, so one question, we can do some of this in Discord, but one question I would specifically ask, so we can't travel by teleportation, but if when we're stopped or if like somebody assaults us on the way, can teleportation be used during it?
That's a fantastic question. I will look into Discord. So she will answer you.
Like using a flight, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
It's
flying, yeah, like basically any,
As long as you resume the path is fine.
right, exactly. Like, again,
Yes.
Iwan knows how these contracts are written, so she's trying to tread carefully. I'll probably have more questions, but we can just
Okay, we can use them on Discord. But let's say for the time being, she does stress that, like, you are right, that if there's any loophole that they can work out, if they want to work out of the deal, they might work that in. So yeah, so she stresses that you might want to be careful where you tread with that, yes.
Okay.
But she also adds that this arrangement is in Asmodeus' best interest. He didn't sign it against his will, and as far as she's aware, he does want to see it through. This agreement, you know, basically creating a hellish infernal empire on the mortal plane, is something he wants. So in her eyes, you might be able to get away with some things, but as you say, devils are apt to find loopholes if they want to.
I have a couple of items that would have to be handled before we leave. I assume you want us to leave immediately.
She nods and says, within the hour if possible, but what do you need done?
There are things that clerks can do. I need to ship slaves to Cantaria. I need to send word to that house of that girl I want to talk to about her tiefling sister or whatever. And I wanted to send word to Sonara. The tieflings there are in full revolt, trying to reassert order in the city.
Okay. She turns her head to the Zabub with her, and she says, whatever he needs, make it so. And the Zabub floats over to you.
Okay.
I'll, while Nero's asking that question to her, I'll go to Iwan and whisper, what about that guy who flew away? Is that a problem? Do we need to deal with that now?
We've got an hour. If it's a problem, we'll deal with it.
So you whispered.
It'll still be a problem in a week.
Yeah.
I figured if she was solving problems, we could just start throwing them at her and she can solve them.
Oh, she heard you whispering.
Oh, shit.
She says, "Oh, who flew away? What guy?"
There was someone I was chasing. Another problem I'm trying to root out.
A problem? In what sense?
I'll say the not word for alive.
The halfling word for not alive?
Yeah. Something that needs to be billeth.
and she asks you, why? Who is this person? Why do they need to be billeth?
There's all sorts of little problems.
Forrest interjects. My queen, he was aiding the Bellflower Network. He's a loose end that we must have.
And then Iwan would go into a little bit more detail based on the stuff that Maggie told her. You know, he's somebody who himself made a deal with the devil and has decided that it's not good for him anymore, and instead sympathizes with other causes like the Bellflower to try to earn back his freedom, I guess. So he aligned himself poorly and managed to escape. But he's somebody that we'll make sure we also root out once we take care of this more important deed.
She looks at you, Iwan, and she looks back at Dern, confused as to why this person is on your radar to begin with. And she looks back at Iwan, sensing that you are the brains of the operation. And she asks, "Are you reaping souls for Asmodeus?"
Whoa, that's a direct question.
Like, well, these eyes, and she gestures back to the Zebub, don't come for free, you know.
She nods and then turns back to Dern and says, "And you help her. Why?"
All of these problems can snowball into bigger problems for the Empire, and I serve nothing more than your interests, whether small or big, every day, all day.
My queen, Dern didn't get involved with this Siggy until we rooted out the Bellfire network. It was perhaps it was like Dern's involvement was just a result of the situation.
It's literally all the time.
Yeah, we had no intention of getting him involved. But
Traders also breed traitors, and this party knows well that once you start cutting some off, the rest understand the message.
Okay. She seems happy with the way you've described that.
It's well put.
Yeah. She understands the grand scheme of things and agrees. But she asks you, Dern, like, why do you bring him up? Are you seeking to chase him now?
No, I just wondered if your people had tabs on him at least.
We've never heard of him. Apologies. Gotta talk like a royal. We've never heard of him.
We will find him after.
She smirks at you with the not so royal we, and she nods.
So Iwan would look back and say, as before, we could give you or an agent that you would trust an idea of what to look for, and again would gesture to Maggie.
And she nods and she says, if you believe he will return, then yes, of course.
It's probably worth not taking the chance, and she'll kind of gesture to Maggie to go show the images that she had of, whatever. I don't think Maggie saw when he was flying away, but at least,
Yeah.
Saw him transform, right?
when he was like, around and.
Yeah, she's seen Siggy before in the past, but I don't think she saw him flying away. Maybe, like, in the distance, she saw him, like, getting away. But yeah, so you give that all to her, and she now has, like, a description of Siggy. And she understands, and she says, I will tell everyone to be on the lookout in case he returns.
And Iwan would go, while we're at it, I have another sympathizer you can root out.
Oh?
We were gonna do it ourselves, but we'll be gone for a week, and who knows who will flee town in the meantime.
Oh?
And so she'll look back at Maggie and kind of smile, and then look back and say, the trader's name is Anika.
Oh, Annika.
Yeah. And she runs a local distillery, and Iwan would kind of describe where in town it is.
Okay.
She'd been, as far as I know, funneling money to the Bellflower's cause and helping them as well behind the scenes. As I said, it was something I had intended to do, but this takes precedence, so I leave it in your trusted hands now.
She nods knowingly and says, what would you have done to Annika?
An example made? I trust you know how to best do that?
Of course, of course. And says, I will find this Annika. Do not worry.
I'm not.
All right. Anybody else have business with the Queen? Nope.
My queen. Is there anything that may aid us in our journey, or perhaps increase the odds of our success?
She asks, what would you need? You seem perfectly capable.
It's just, I figured I'd ask. Your Majesty. Not that I would presume to know everything we might need on this unique journey.
She looks at Iwan for a moment and sizes you up. And she fully understands that you are aware of what spellcasters can do and the sort of precautions you should take against them. And she asked, do you need anything to subdue and restrict Lavasvia's movements?
I have
This
some
is J-
ideas.
This is Jeff talking. Can we Discord this? I
Sure.
need to look up a bunch of stuff.
Fair enough, yes. TLDR, if you need a scroll, you can have a scroll.
Yeah.
Items?
We'll get the scrolls.
Yeah,
Item-
if you need items within reason, we'll decide how much gold is involved. But
I
if
was
you come up
curious
with
that-
scrolls or items that you need, she is here to help make that happen.
Well, the other thing I was thinking, I guess we could just I'll quickly mention it now. Iwan was going to talk to Vors about drugs and if there are any that like induce paralysis or things like that.
I was thinking
Yes.
of there's a drow poison that's like Slaver's drops that basically knock somebody
Make
out
you
for
sleepy,
yeah.
hours and hours. Fine.
Things like trying to leverage his black market stuff. But Iwan doesn't know that yet, but she'd have some ideas as to what she would want if it existed.
It exists.
Anti-magic field also has no saving throw.
But then you can't cast magic in there.
Yeah, but I can tear her ass up, son.
That's true. Her toe to toe with Bob in an anti magic field is a problem.
Yeah.
But dimensional anchor is pretty. Dimensional anchor and see invisibility on you fools is pretty brutal too.
Yeah. As long as you
There's
don't
gotta
tell.
I feel like there's got to be items that like prevent somebody from speaking also, which would be useful.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like Jeff, I just don't know. So
It's called a knife.
Yeah, you could also just tie a sock around their mouth. Like it's
Or a ball
entirely.
gag.
He literally has a ball gag. But yeah, I mean, there are mundane ways to stop people from talking.
I mean, I imagine a spider's web arranged in the right way would be good too. That death web was coming, so
It's true. And you've also got suffocate. You got a lot of ways to stop people from talking. It's true.
Poisonous?
Just want to make sure we have it all covered.
I think death webs have a poison. I feel like they do. I don't know what they
Zebub have what?
do. Death webs have a poison.
Because basically,
Oh.
if you drop anything except Constitution to 0, you're basically feeble.
But remember, again, you're bringing this sacrifice with you, and if someone kills the sacrifice, one of
Right.
you has to die. So you don't
Right.
want her to be so weak that she dies quickly.
But she's gonna immediately notice what we're doing, like at post 1 when we cut her for blood. Right?
I assume that we're going to have her subdued.
I assume you're going to subdue her before that. She's not going to willingly go with you to post 1.
Come with us on this journey.
Hey, Lavassia, we need you to leave town real quick. We're going on this journey for the queen that you were in the room where she talked about. And there's a human sacrifice involved, but don't worry about that.
If not you,
It's gonna be Bob.
It's fine. It's Bob.
It's the betrayal.
It's the betrayal. Like I told you, it's been happening.
Oh, God.
You could do that. You could decide to make it Bob. You could you could just skip Lavasvia entirely.
Bob. Now Bob can play her.
We have to figure it out. So it's 11:51. So we're not going to get any further than that. Anybody else want to do anything else with the queen, or if not, before you leave?
Is she going to be summoning Iwan about the gate or waiting?
Oh yes, she wants to talk to you about that. So is everybody else done?
Sure.
Because she wants to send everybody out because she's not sure how Iwan wants to talk about this, but she's assuming that Iwan wants to talk alone about it.
Yeah, that's what Iwan suggested on her in the message. Yeah.
So does anybody else have any business with the queen?
Nope.
Okay, then
I
she
will-
sends the rest of you out, but asks Iwan to stay.
I will be very thankful to her and mention that I'm very thankful that she saved me from the pits of wherever it was.
She nods at you and says again, "You are a useful tool." And she gestures at Nira. "Perhaps this is the one who can wield you." And she nods as you salute her,
Yeah.
and everybody heads out. All right. And as they close the door, again, you're in this lead-lined room with this mysterious orb with ebon clouds within it. And it's now just you, her, and the two devils. And she asks you, "So what is this of controlling the gate?"
So Iwan would say, "Do you mind if I pull out the tomes that we stole from the Glorious Reclamation.
Of course.
She
And she gestures to
to
the
her
table.
backpack.
Yeah.
So she'll basically grab the 2 books out of her backpack and dump them down on the table. So there's obviously a lot here, so it's difficult to go over all of it now, but I can try to hit the highlights. After we stole these tomes from the Glorious Reclamation, I feverishly poured through them to figure out the secrets of the gate so that I could share it with you so that we can start to tip the scales in this war against the Glorious Reclamation. She'd be like, it was difficult. It took me some time. And then I guess does Iwin believe, I mean, like, does she think that the Queen would understand this kind of stuff? Does she have any reason, or would she think that it's better to, like, ask for somebody else to explain it to?
So let's say you start explaining the beginnings of it, and she seems readily what's the word? She seems very apt. She's picking up when you describe the basics of it. She seems to, like, gesture you, like, yes, move on. She seems to have some understanding. She's asking you to get to the meat.
Okay. So then Iwin will pull out her notes and basically say, everything's here, but I'm going to quickly hit the highlights, just so you know how to navigate this, because this is probably more than can be covered in just the little bit of time that we have here.
Fair enough.
But I'll give you a roadmap for it, and then if need be, when I come back from the sacrifice, we'll go through it more together. And so she'll just, very methodically just kind of go through, be checking to make sure the Queen's kind of getting it. So I think, I'm trying to remember how Iwin got it. It was like this whole, like, twisting image, right, that was happening as she was getting it. So basically, Iwin will sort of talk through, and then when she senses that she's kind of gotten through the framework, she'll be like, is it okay if I cast an image for you to view?
Yeah, so as you're describing it, she is following along. She seems rather well-versed in Arcana. Like, even some of the more obscure things you're talking about, she seems to at least be following along with you. And as you ask if you can make an image, she agrees.
So basically, Iwin will try as best she can to recreate the image that she saw being pieced together as, like, the knowledge came to her. So she'll do the silent image to show that.
Yeah, she's fine with that. So she studies it, and again, it's a lot to take in within, like, the couple of minutes you're talking to her there. But she seems to have the basic idea of what you're explaining. And, the concept of the fact, kind of what Nero was alluding to earlier, that you need some sort of lawful being to be present at the gate all the time, to serve as a warden, to kind of stamp the people coming through with whatever you want. And as Nero was saying, the Glorious Reclamation could stamp them to be good, theoretically, could be brainwashing them, controlling them, mind controlling them. And Fex and Visceral could have been stamping them to be loyal to them, and that theoretically, if you had some sort of a devil living there, you could stamp them to be loyal to Thrun. So she gets the highlights. She definitely understands that there's a lot there, that she can't just go out and do this tomorrow, but she understands that at least you believe you know what you're doing, and that she understands where you're going.
So she'll be like, sorry I had to be so secretive about this, but as you saw, there's one among us who this would bother. But my allegiances are to you primarily, and not to him.
She nods knowingly. And, yes, you would leave these here then?
Yes, they're yours.
She nods, obviously happy, and she looks back at Contessa, who also nods. They will definitely pore over these while you are away. This is a great service to the Empire and to your queen. It will not be forgotten. Should you return, when you return, she corrects herself, when you return, everything you've done for us will be repaid tenfold, I assure you.
Iwin would nod, and unless she had any more questions, would be happy to leave.
Yeah, so there's some back and forth, and she'd ask some questions, you'd explain some things, and then, yeah, she's happy, and you can go.
She.
Did I say he? She?
No, she it as this is the betrayal.
Oh shit! that betrayal dough. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple minutes. Anybody doing anything else? We're gonna pick up next session with heading out to the first standing stone. Anybody want to do anything else?
Bobby needs to assign his workers to the distillery, or after a week.
Yeah, what you gonna do? You got an hour. The queen wants you out within the hour, Bobber.
You need to set up a business in 1 hour.
Well, that's easy with the queen.
It's
Plus,
cool.
we have business favors now, so
You do.
Well,
Sethic promised you a favor, and the queen is the queen. The queen literally implied that she is at your disposal.
Just get them to buy up.
Once the other distillery doesn't have a owner anymore, then
Also
we can
true.
take it over. It's been successful. So
Also
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That's
They're
true.
they're doing rum, but you could change the charge, or you could produce rum and make it.
we're just make it rum. Why not? I mean,
Or you
it's
could.
rum.
I thought you were transitioning into meth and other things.
Why not both?
Porque no los dos, yes.
Okay, no los dos. You're thinking small.
It's interesting. I got this pick and place machine at the distillery, and
Oh, God.
Ixnay on the pick and place.
Ixnays!
Taking place.
So what I'll do is I'll put that home, and I can do work for the distillery from my inn.
right? And I'm getting the distillery to pay me to do work for the distillery.
All right.
All right, and legally, for tax purposes, none of that gets taxed.
Yeah.
And anyway, so yeah, anything else? We got like a minute or two left. We good? All right. What you guys got for morals MVP? What you got?
Morals, Bobby.
We got morals for sure here, boys. Ooh, let me open up that tab again. Here we go. Vors, offer her a drink. Bob, do you want to drink some of this man's skull blood? Duke Baron, what's his name? Whatever. I usually don't like. Oh, never mind. That's not the moral yet. Bob was too stupid to run.
That's true.
She knows I dated her husband. Do you belong to any church or order? Probably. And traitors breed traitors.
It's true. All right. What are your votes? You're voting with emojis?
I also said dated her husband.
Hmm?
Yeah, this is the one. That's the one.
Which one is it? Do you belong to any church or order? Probably. Is that winning?
We need, yeah, it's 3 goats.
It's got 3 goats. Do you belong to any church or order? Probably. Is the moral. MVPs. Who was the most valuable player? I know it was a role-playing session. I'm sorry, Michael and / Bob.
Oof.
Everyone did well.
I knew that going in. I told Lauren going in. Michael's going to hate this session.
No, Bob loves it. Come on, Bob.
Bob had a great time.
He's out here. MVPs, what do you got?
I think everyone did well. I have no vote.
Ooh.
Ugh.
Ugh.
That doesn't work. That don't work.
I thought Jeff was great with his legal maneuvering and magical shenanigans in the court.
I
It
like
was
the
pretty good.
The cloak was pretty awesome. I agree.
Yeah, that was cool. How does voting work? I'm just gonna write things to you.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. You could just
You get
vote
that?
out loud. I don't care. Like, I don't know if this is... Does /GM work?
Yeah, I just sent you a message.
Let me see if I got it. I got it, yeah. /GM works, apparently. Hey, now.
You better sign back into the tabletop then.
Oh, I got a vote too, eh?
I mean, you can. You don't have to, but you can.
Vote for Bob.
You misspelled that.
Yeah, I misspelled that. It's fine. You know what I mean.
Bob votes
What'd
for Geog.
Like me and Jeff in one person.
All right, you got 3 votes for Iwin, so Iwin wins it. That's enough.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Where do we keep the hero points in this new thingy?
I don't know. Jeff had an idea, but I didn't.
Do the
I just-
NPCs also have
I just
hero
made it like a buff or something. Can you actually? I can't add it until I can see my character again.
Oh, yeah. Here, you can go at the top left. You should be able to switch scenes yourself.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
all.
cool.
You should be able to move to.
Yeah. And
Is
this
this
will
like-
persist. This will persist
Yeah.
across all of them?
So the tokens are now synced to your actor, which means yes, they persist across maps.
That's awesome.
Oh, and you can see who's where.
Yeah, so you
Oh,
can
like
see
who's
who's
looking
looking
on the
where.
map.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go to the Hellfire Ball. I guess the throne room, even though I brought you there, I guess it's GM only. So let me change that to all players. You can now look at the
I've
throne
got-
room if you want to.
I've got implementation questions.
Okay, we can talk about it later. But,
Wrap up. Are we gonna wrap up the recording?
yeah, I guess we can wrap up the recording.
We gotta do the thing.
You gotta do the thing. Do the thing. First off, Lagunitas.
Shout
Lagunitas
out to our
sucks.
sponsor, Lagunitas. Lagunitas sucks. Make sure you check that out.
Delicious. Delicious.
If you liked the session, make sure you like and subscribe. Dislike the video twice. If you disliked it, everything helps. Check that bell on the doobly-doo down there so that you get notified when we have new content out. Make sure you leave a comment down below and vote for the MVP of the NPCs so that we can die later. That's it, right?
Just say
Shout out
doobly-doo again.
Shout out Bijo.
Bijo!
Comment down in the doobly-doo. Thanks for the like on the Facebook posts. That's it. That's what I think.
Alright, thanks. Have a good night, everybody.
Doobly-doo.